The director of one of the largest manufacturing novelty companies in the world once told me that the soundest test of a new toy was whether it would appeal to the middle-aged businessman. It's so true, it's almost stopped being a joke. The father who played with his son's birthday present for so long that the kid had to go and smoke his father's pipe. What am I doing here? No, I haven't arrived in my second childhood. I have a date. Half an hour ago. Hello, Claire. Sorry I'm late.
He's behind us.
Oh? Which one?
The older man playing with the cars is Mr. Enston.
And the other?
He's George Fowler. He manages the London office.
But Enston's the one you think is being blackmailed.
I know he's been blackmailed. That's why I phoned you.
Well, surely the next move would be to introduce us.
Yes, but be casual. Don't let on I asked you to come here. We can talk later.
Oh, where?
The Enstons are going to the theater tonight. Could you come to the hotel around 9?
Do you have a date?
Beat you by 5 legs.
Congratulations.
George, I want one of these. Get an assistant.
Yes, Lewis.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
You think this is childish, don't you?
Frankly, yes, but it's not my money, so it's none of my business.
Good. Buy one and take it to the car. And for your information, this is for my son.
Who is 13 and about to start his public school. Don't you think he's a bit old for toys?
No, he isn't too old for toys. Neither am I. They're simple things, George, but they hold the key to relaxation. Now get along and do what I say.
Mr. Enston?
I know, Claire. I'll be late for dinner and I'm a fool, but this thing is fascinating. Want to race me?
First, I'd like you to meet an old friend.
I'd be delighted.
Simon, this is Mr. Lewis Enston, my boss.
Mr. Enston?
Mr. Enston, this is the first man who ever turned my head. The famous Simon Templar.
He buys all these things for his kid?
Mm-hmm. Bob is at school in Switzerland. It's his birthday next week.
Lucky Bobby. What's through there?
I'll show you. The Enston Group offices are in the north. So whenever he comes to London, he takes a 3-room suite and has the hotel supply a couple of desks.
It'd be cheaper if he opened a permanent office in London. You could be in charge and you'd be around all the time. Be much cozier for me. What time do you say they're getting back from the theater?
Would you like to be serious for once?
All right, I am serious. Where's the evidence he's being blackmailed? Cash, £750. So?
He went to the bank today, drew out £750 in £1 notes. He's done that every Wednesday for 7 weeks.
Maybe he's playing the horses.
He's not the gambling type.
He's got an expensive girlfriend.
That expensive?
Maybe not. What's his wife like?
Charming.
Younger, of course?
Much younger.
How do they get along?
Well, as far as I know. Simon, what really has me worried is that every Thursday he puts the money in a briefcase and refuses to tell me where he's going. And tomorrow's Thursday. And I've asked for the day off.
Which means you want us to follow him.
Right.
Claire, why not let me ask him straight out if he's in trouble?
Because he's the kind of man who won't tolerate people meddling in his affairs. I don't want to make a fool of myself. Simon, will you help me? Please. I'm terribly fond of him. He's been awfully good to me. Before we say anything to him, let's follow him tomorrow and see what happens.
All right, what time is this little safari?
Usually right after lunch.
Well, we'll take Fido along with us. Now we wait.
I'm afraid so.
1:45. Let's hope he lunches early.
This afternoon I'm shopping, and tonight I'm having dinner with Mary.
Why?
Because A, you have a business dinner, B, Mary's my sister, and C, I like her.
I don't understand the attraction.
There are a lot of things you don't understand.
Not for want of trying.
Oh, come off it, Lewis. You couldn't care less what I do.
Every time we come to London, instead of seeing the sights and doing the shows, you spend all your time with a dim-witted old maid. Why?
Let's say it's a relief from present company.
Morning, Lewis.
You're late.
See this morning's Times?
But don't jump to conclusions. Costello and Hamill are finished.
Are they?
They certainly are. Have you had your coffee?
No, I haven't actually. Look, they're not finished according to this.
Send up coffee for two, please.
I suppose you're going to tell me not to believe everything I read in the papers.
Yes, they're ripe for picking. Excuse me, I want to have a word with my wife. Marjorie, just a minute.
I'll be
Let me
late.
say-
Don't wait up.
Marjorie, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that about Mary. I apologize.
Accepted.
Marjorie, what's the matter with us? Why do we fight like this?
Ask yourself the question.
Darling, listen, why
Oh,
did
for
you...
God's sake, Lewis, don't stop pawing me here in the hotel corridor.
Or anywhere else. Don't touch me. Keep away from me, month after month. How long do you expect me to stand it?
If you don't like it, you know exactly what you can do.
I'm too old for you, is that it?
If you really want to know, yes. What time is your dinner finish?
10:30.
Then I'll be back at 11.
Can't go on paying out money week after week and not expect Hamill or Costello to find out. They're not complete fools.
They're pretty close.
We tried every move and they haven't budged an inch.
In 3 weeks, they're supposed to deliver the first batch of equipment to the government, and they haven't a ghost of a chance. Hamill's dining here tonight. If he accepts my offer, that's it. If he doesn't, you go on feeding money to Duggan. You know, the trouble with you, George, is you want to make money and keep your integrity. It can't be done.
Not by your methods.
If there's anything wrong with my methods, you can get out.
Don't let's quarrel about
I'm
this,
not
Lewis.
quarreling, I'm telling you. I run the Instone Group, not you. You're just a paid hand. I pay you £7,000 to do my work, and if you find it too dirty, you can quit. After you.
Now, let's get this straight. Costello and Hamill are a small company, but respected. The government thinks so because they've given them a large order for electronic computer components. But now they can't meet the deadline because some of their key men are on strike.
Right.
And the Edston Group now wants to take over, isn't it?
Mr. Enston calls it a merger.
Oh, speak of the devil and happy pumps.
With £750 in his briefcase.
Now, brothers, don't let Hamill and Costello bully you into overtime with vague promises of long-term production. We're out on a matter of principle, and we stay out until the principle is accepted by management.
Principle. Duggan doesn't know what the word means.
They'll have to pay double time. Now, brothers, I'm putting it to the vote. Resolve to continue strike action until our claims are met in full. All in favor? Well? Carried by a substantial majority, we stay out.
An unofficial strike by a handful of so-called craftsmen, and bang! Our whole business goes up in smoke.
If we started work again now, 3 8-hour shifts, we could meet the government deadline.
And if they're out another week,
We're dead.
well, let's prepare for a gracious funeral. Ensign will be here in a minute.
You want me to cheer?
I want you to be polite. Where will you be?
My design shop, where I belong.
Now, why would a man pay a weekly visit to his future partners with £750 in his briefcase?
Not this time.
Oh, you're right. He's left the briefcase in the car. Well, since Ensign's safely in the factory, I think we'll follow the money.
Well, gentlemen, you've been unlucky, that's all. You've had labour trouble. Now, suppose the same thing had happened to me. Would you have let me off the hook?
All right, Lewis. What do you want me to do?
First, I want to look around the plant. Fowler's picking me up in an hour. Then, I want you to have a look at this, John. Very carefully. When you come to see me, give me your answer. Do you sell out now, or do you wait for the crash?
I've got a majority vote today, but only just. I can't keep it going after next week.
You may not have to. Hamill's signing the takeover tonight.
Yeah, I think you'd better.
What you think doesn't matter, chum. I'm just a hired hand.
I love you too.
Hey, clear off.
Here comes the man. Come on, Robbie, run for it, quick. You old big head.
Oh, well. And what's your cut, Rocco?
Who are you?
And what's it being used for?
Get out fast, mister.
Sorry, I'm a professional strike breaker.
All right, well, get out fast before I put this on you.
Try it. You missed. Come on your feet. On your feet. Claire, get another bucket of water, will you?
All right. That's enough.
Well, now, Sleeping Beauty, while you were resting, I finished off the pay packet for you. I find there's £200 over, which, of course, is going to my favourite charity. You've had it, though, for 7 weeks there, haven't you? Claire, I'm sorry about this. I was working for Enston, but now I'm with the opposition.
If I'd known that this is what Enston was doing, I'd have walked out on him weeks ago.
Oh, we live and learn. Where do you pay off?
Drop dead.
Do you want to dance some more?
All right. The Red Lion pub opposite the factory.
Fine. We'll drive you. You're in no fit state to ride.
It's a pity Costello's so hostile.
He's afraid that when you take over, he'll be out of a job.
I admire his foresight. Sorry to keep you so long.
Don't apologize. You're the boss.
Not yet. See you later at my hotel.
In about an hour.
Good. Well, it's all over.
Congratulations.
How did it go with Duggan?
And he said the men want to go back. He can't keep the strike going after next week.
He won't have to. Hamill will sign the takeover agreement tonight. Having a little celebration dinner. Why don't you join us?
I may be forced to help to put a noose around a man's neck. But I don't think the hanging is an occasion for celebration.
Where do you want to go?
If it's not out of your way, my flat.
So he's finally gone.
Yes. Do you want to join us for dinner?
Before I'd sit down to dinner with Enston, I'd starve. Greedy, grasping, stupid little man who plays with toys. John, are you really going to let him get away with it?
Oh, what else do you suggest?
What we talked about. Remember?
No.
Why not?
I couldn't.
You could. And it's foolproof.
I know we talked about it, but for the last time, no.
George, grow up, will you? This is business, big business. Enstone stock will jump 10 shillings when this takeover's announced. I shall clean up. George, you've got a good head on your shoulders. You're going to make a lot of money one day. Once you learn the primary rule.
Which is?
When you see something you want, regardless of who it belongs to, take it. Don't worry about scruples or integrity. Take it.
All right, Lewis. In future, I shall do exactly that.
Thank you, darling. How'd it go?
He won.
As usual.
Yes. Costello and Hamill are on their knees.
Like us.
I wouldn't say that.
I would.
Darling, please. I've had a rough day. Don't let's start that again.
When it's convenient for you to discuss our future, perhaps you would give me an appointment.
Stop it, will you?
Like tomorrow, when you haven't had such a rough day.
Are you deliberately trying to pick a fight?
No. I'm just tired of the backstreet bit, that's all.
Don't you think I am?
I think it suits you just fine. You always resent the truth, don't you? Lewis has mentioned that.
Oh, my faults are legion. I admit them.
Oh, George, I am sorry, but what's going to happen to us?
Darling, nothing is going to happen to us.
Well, here's to our thrilling future.
You know I didn't mean that.
Frankly, I don't. Lewis and I had a fight today. I was pretty brutal. I have a hunch he suspects something.
You mean us?
Well, I haven't been seeing anyone else.
But he didn't... I mean, he didn't say that I...
No, George, your job is perfectly safe.
7,000 a year jobs don't grow on trees, you know.
So you've said many times. Oh, I wish that just once.
What?
Oh, that you would punch someone in the jaw for me, or shoot Lewis and throw him out the hotel window.
Oh, that's a sensible suggestion. I do think I am, a knight doing battle for his fair lady.
No. I think you're a lot of things, but not that. Strange thing is that I'm so in love with you.
Where are you going?
We'll walk, get some fresh air, back to the hotel.
But I thought...
Yes, I know exactly what you thought, George. You were wrong. You see, the trouble with this back street bit is the traffic goes only one way.
Thanks. Cheers.
Good luck.
Lewis, what about Costello? Can you find a place for him?
I doubt it.
He's one of my oldest friends.
I'm sorry, John. This is business. There's no room for sentiment. Excuse me.
Hello? Mr. Inston? Bishop here. I've got my report ready for you, sir.
When did she leave?
All right, now, brothers. Can I have your attention, please?
Right, boys, quiet now.
Now, I'm very happy to say I've had a very constructive talk with Mr. Costello and Mr. Hamill. They've agreed to our most important demand, and that is double pay if the plant goes on a 24-hour basis. Of course, there are one or two details to be worked out, but I feel sure the negotiations will proceed in a spirit of mutual...
Cooperation?
cooperation and brotherhood. Therefore, I'm putting it to the vote. I call for a motion to proceed to work tomorrow morning, first shift. Do I have such a motion?
I so move.
I second. All in favour? Aye. Motion carried. Right, there, who's going to buy me a drink?
Okay, I'll get one. For a start. So far, so good.
Now what?
No? We straighten out Enston.
It's childish, I know, but I get a kick out of these things.
No, funny.
I will.
Yes, sir. Anything else, Mr. Enston?
That's all, thank you.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
I won't be much longer, Lewis.
Take your time. You know, I'm getting just a teeny-weeny little bit tight.
Why not? You have every reason to celebrate.
Don't be bitter about it. Things might have been worse. Remind me to tell you about a friend. Excuse me, John, will you? I think that was Marjorie.
Yes, of course.
You're back early, darling. It's only 10 o'clock.
Mary wasn't feeling very well. She went to bed early.
What a shame when you enjoy her company so much. Why don't I phone her up and give her some medical advice?
Pardon?
You understand English, don't you? I want to phone up Mary. What's her number?
She's already asleep.
She won't mind if her dear brother-in-law wakes her up.
Don't be silly, Lewis. I told you she's already gone to bed.
And how would you know that?
Are you drunk?
No, but I'm on to you, sweetheart.
What do you mean?
You're a dirty, lying, two-timing little tramp. Louis! You've been out with Fowler.
No!
Admit it. You've been in Fowler's flat the whole afternoon. Admit it. Admit it.
Right, yes, I have!
Mr. Boy Scout Integrity Fowler, my personal assistant and my wife. I bet you had 1,000 little laughs, eh? Poor old unsuspecting Lewis with his toys.
If you want to talk about this, just
I don't want to
calm
talk
down.
about it. I've got nothing to say. You want him, you can have him. He's all yours, but as of now, he's unemployed and you're out. But you won't mind that, will you, dear? You can live on love.
Lewis, listen.
That's all you will have to live on, because I'm going to make it a hobby to see that no firm in London touches Mr. Fowler with a barge pole. No charge accounts, no cars, no furs. You get out of here with what's in this room and what's on your back.
That suits me just fine.
Good. Then we're agreed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a business meeting going on. Making a little of that money you seem to think so unimportant.
Lewis,
What?
will you give me a divorce?
You're kidding.
Lewis, please.
Marjorie, I wouldn't give you a glass of water in the desert.
That's so vindictive. It's so unfair.
Now I'm unfair, am I?
Oh, you're a lot of things. You're boring and dull, and you're fat and stupid. But most of all, you're old.
Mr. Fowler's going to look pretty ancient by the time he's made an honest woman out of you, dear. Because you won't be free to marry him until I'm dead. I suppose you heard that.
I couldn't very well help it.
Well, forget it.
Of course.
It's been coming for a long time.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Couldn't care less, frankly. Well, have you finished?
Yes, everything
Good.
seems in order. Thanks. Well, Costello and Hamill Limited is all yours.
And on the strength of that, I propose to get extremely tight.
I thought you would. As a matter of fact, I think I'll join you.
Good.
George, I've just had a terrible row with Lewis. He knows everything. He's like a wild man. He ranted and raved and threatened us both. Divorce is out of the question. He won't hear of it.
He said that? Oh, my God. All right, I'll be over right away.
I'll meet you at the bar.
Wait for me here. My little chat with Ensign shouldn't take too long.
What are you going to say to him?
I think what's more important is what is he going to say to me?
Simon, look.
Scotland Yard, will you? Inspector Teal, please.
Well, I was in and out all the time, sir, until I finally cleared away the dinner.
And no one entered the suite during the evening apart from Mrs. Enstone.
No, sir, just Mr. Hamill.
You saw Hamill leave?
Yes, so declare.
And Enstone was with him?
Very much alive at the front entrance of the hotel.
Did you notice anything unusual at the dinner?
No, Inspector, nothing.
No harsh words?
Not while I was in the room, no.
All right, you can go.
Thanks, sir.
Claude, when I found him, that door was locked, so I came in through the office.
And?
Well, somebody might have heard me coming and slipped into the bedroom and then out into the corridor from there.
Thank you, Simon. That possibility had not escaped me. No doubt you think I'm a little old-fashioned.
Why? Wouldn't go that far.
So I should continue to investigate the obvious conclusion first, which is suicide.
Claire, have you any idea what was in this box?
No, but I can find out.
Miss Wheeler, can you tell me anything else? Can you think of any reason why Mr. Enstone would shoot himself?
No, I can't believe it.
What about his marriage?
I think you'd better ask Mrs. Enstone about that.
Oh, George, what have we done?
Nothing. Nothing.
Inside, he must have really loved me. When he heard about us, he just couldn't stand it.
Oh, Marjorie, be sensible. He couldn't have cared less about your marriage.
Please don't say that.
Marjorie, you know it's true. Now, come on, pull yourself together. Inspector wants to speak to you in a few minutes.
Here you are, Inspector. All the correspondence on the takeover.
Thank you.
What is going on out there?
We'll see. Inspector, it's very late and Mrs. Enstone's terribly tired. Can't you
I've
go
one
to
or two
bed?
more questions for her.
Well, surely they can wait till the morning.
That's all, Mr. Fowler. Good night.
Good night.
I say good night, Mr. Fowler. Mrs. Enstone, I know you're very tired and very shocked, but can you think of any possible motive for suicide? Or murder?
No.
Forgive me, but were you happily married?
Yes.
I see. Well, I won't trouble you any more tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Enstone. Is that all you have to do?
I'm thinking, Claude.
Really?
Yes, quite hard.
Well, enjoy yourself. I'm going to bed.
Good night, Claude.
About what?
Well, the most usual way of shooting oneself. It's like this. Oh, then there is the gun in the mouth school, which I'm inclined to feel is rather messy.
This is obviously leading to something.
When I found Enstone, he had his thumb on the trigger like this, which is rather unusual, peculiar, although I must admit it can be done.
And he did it.
No, he didn't, Claude. Somebody else did it.
Nonsense. Enstone was alone.
All right, then what about that peculiar little pantomime outside the hotel entrance I told you about between Hamill and Enstone?
They were drunk.
But you must admit it is peculiar.
Simon, relax. Enstone committed suicide.
Why?
I don't know. Yet.
He didn't leave a note.
Lots of people don't.
Correction, Claude. Most people do. The I can't stand it, please forgive me type of note. Nice, selfish, accusing, guaranteed to make the next of kin feel thoroughly guilty.
It's an open and shut case. Come around to the yard in the morning. I'm interviewing Costello and Hamill. I'll prove to you Enstone committed suicide.
He didn't commit suicide. He was murdered.
We're trying to find the motive behind Mr. Enstone's suicide. Mr. Templer is here as an observer.
Oh, an amateur. I love to watch a professional at work.
How long had you known him, Mr. Costello?
6 years.
Can you think of any reason why he should shoot himself?
No, it was a great shock.
Did you like Enstone?
Not particularly. It isn't necessary to like a man in order to do business with him.
Is that lit?
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Thank you. I designed it myself.
Really?
Yes, I'm an electrical engineer.
Oh, yes, of course. I'd forgotten. May I?
Of course.
It's brilliant. How does it work?
It's a secret. I'm putting it on the market.
May we go on, please?
Yes, of course, I'm sorry, Claude.
Mr. Hamill, can you tell us anything? I'm sorry, I can't. As Al said, we're both deeply shocked. When I left him last night, he was in very high spirits. In fact, he was rather drunk.
Not depressed?
On the contrary, he stood to make a great deal of money by this takeover.
And by the same token, you stood to lose a great deal.
We were having labor trouble at the plant. It was unavoidable. We needed the Enston resources to meet a government contract.
Did you feel you were getting the rough end of the stick?
Mergers are not made in heaven, Mr. Templar.
Oh, I'm sorry. May I go on, Claude?
Why not?
Mr. Hamill, have you always been in electronics?
No.
Now, what did you do before?
I was a salesman for an appliance manufacturer in the Midlands.
Were you a good one?
Frankly, yes. Very good.
Oh, I'm sorry, Claude. I have no more questions.
I see no reason for considering Mr. Enstone's death as anything but suicide. We're investigating his possible motives. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in.
Bye, Mr. Templar.
Gentlemen. You're mad at me, aren't you, Claude?
You could say that.
Because I raised the question of murder?
It wasn't murder. Enstone's wife was having an affair with Fowler. Enstone had a detective following her, name of Bishop. I've got his report right here.
That's old hat, Claude.
You knew?
I saw the way they greeted each other in the hotel bar.
And you jumped to an immediate conclusion?
Well, I am of the age when one notices such things.
Enstone was depressed by his wife's infidelity, so he shot himself.
No, Claude. Those two did it.
Simon, I'm quite convinced that Enstone took his own life. Will you stop doing that? Now, if you want to make a murder out of this, be my guest. Go ahead and solve it. And get out of my chair so that I can close the case.
Thank you, Claude. And you've no idea what was in this?
Probably a toy of some sort. Does it really matter?
Could do. You see, this is the only box that none of the toys in the other room will fit into. And it's the only box that didn't come from that shop in Regent Street.
And that's significant?
I think so.
Well, I don't. Lewis was always picking up toys for Bobby. What difference does it make where he bought them or that one is missing?
It could make a great deal of difference. You see, I was wondering whether this toy, or whatever it was, could have been sent by, say, a friend.
Many of our friends sent us presents for Bobby on his birthday.
You've no idea which one sent this?
Oh, Mr. Templar, why are you meddling?
Because I think your husband was murdered.
You're wrong.
Am I?
Yes.
How can you be so sure?
You see, Lewis found out that George Fowler and I are in love. He pretended not to care, but he did care. So deeply that he couldn't go on living.
That certainly paints a different picture, doesn't it? On the face of it, it could be suicide.
That makes me guilty.
No, Mrs. Enston. Don't blame yourself. You're not guilty.
If you're right, I shall be very grateful. And if you're wrong, there's nothing anybody can do about it.
I understand you're flying to Switzerland.
Yes, I don't want someone else to break the news to Bobby about his father's death. Now, will you excuse me?
Of course. Thank you for seeing me.
She all right?
Blaming herself?
Maybe she should.
No, Claire. Costello and Hamill murdered Ensign.
Simon, that's absolutely impossible.
Is it?
In the first place, Costello wasn't anywhere near this hotel last night.
Hmm?
And after Hamill left, Enstone was seen alive in the lobby by about a dozen people. We saw him come back into the hotel ourselves.
That's true. Nevertheless, I'm right. You know, Hamill's a psychologist.
I know he's a salesman.
Exactly, the amounts is the same thing. All salesmen are psychologists. They have to be. They have to know human nature in order to sell. And Costello is a brilliant electrical engineer and an inventor.
I don't get the connection.
And there's this box. You were going to find out what was in it, did you?
I'm afraid not. I couldn't even find out where it came from. Is it important?
It could be. I gather Enston didn't buy all these toys himself?
No.
Claire, tonight you and I are going to pay a little visit, unofficial, of course, to Costello and Hamill Limited.
Simon, this is the wildest theory I've ever heard.
My theories usually are.
I only hope you know what you're doing. That's all.
Right, I'll try and explain to you. Costello and Hamill knew they were getting a pretty rough deal from Enston, so at the last minute they decided not to stand for it. Now, Costello's an inventor of gadgets, and Hamill is a psychologist. Put them together, and what have you got?
You tell me.
Murder by remote control. Now you wait here. If you see anyone suspicious, give me 2 sharp blasts on the horn.
And Costello and Hamill?
If they turn up, you get out of here fast and call Teal.
It's unlocked. All right, well, watch your step. No, it's all right. It must have been the night watchman. Well, where's the film?
It's in here.
That's pretty careless of you, isn't it? It's the one thing that could give us away.
It's gone.
He must be here somewhere.
We're looking for something, gentlemen?
What the devil are you doing here?
Proving that crime doesn't pay. Oh, I must admit it very nearly did for you. Except for 1 or 2 unfortunate oversights. For instance, this film. You should have got rid of it. Oh, and it would have been nice if you'd got Enston to leave a suicide note. And you should have got rid of that odd man out box. over, Hamill?
Not yet.
That's a piece of very neat timing, Claude. Now, if you'll step inside, I'll show you how Enston was murdered. Claude, it's all a question of sales psychology. This is the gun that Enston thought he was playing with. Costello here made it. Then Hamill took it along to Enston last night, ostensibly as a present for young Bobby Enston.
Give it to me.
In a moment. Hamill let Enston play with it, just long enough to tickle his interest. Then they settled down to talk business. Sometime during the evening, Hamill switched the toy gun for a real one. Now, Hamill, being a superb salesman, knew that Enston wouldn't be able to keep his hands off it. But just to be sure, he reminded him of it before he left.
I don't get it.
I'll show you.
Just a minute,
Relax, Claude. Ingenious, isn't it?
Very.
May I?
Well, there you are, Claude. That is what happened to the man who liked toys. I personally prefer dolls.